You guys can push when you decide to push. You guys can play when you decide. We had a big number of guys in the game, and a large number of those guys set a very high standard in terms of. Okay, then you saw what some of the things that we're going to be up against. Understand that's what we're going to be facing, because we're all going to play those guys. They'll tell you the amount of work that needs to be done. Okay, you're going to do shit. There's nothing you can do. In situations where it's hot in the kitchen, and you say, oh, my stomach hurts, oh, I got a headache. That's the kind of shit I'm gonna fuck with. That's the kind of shit I'm gonna fuck with. Because it means you can't endure. You understand? You're always being victim, and you always follow what you feel. I don't feel like training, I'm not gonna train. Oh, I feel sick. Oh, I feel sore from training yesterday, so I don't have to train today.
Welcome guys to Kokstad Connect, and today is a special segment, the fitness segment. You're about to get shown my guest today, Lwando Nteta, footage of him him training alone first, and then also coaching and training his students. And yeah, I needed to reach out to him because we need to know and find out more, and plus we need to know his story. And yeah, this is an important segment and a section of Kokstad Connect as a whole, that sports is not really talked about, especially when it comes to the eyes and the narrative of Kokstad. And yeah, basically I'm very excited about this segment because it's very motivational, and you will see from the footage that Kokstad Connect has taken that the guy sitting next to me knows what he's doing. And yeah, we can start anywhere, but the most important story, Buti, is welcome to Kokstad Connect first. And who is Lwando Nteta?
Jesus.
You can feel free to start anywhere, but for me, Jay, I appreciate you blessing us at the studio today.
No, man.
Welcome to Kokstad Connect.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Like, we can even start at the beginning. Like, let's go to the footage I'm referring to. Is that your normal morning routine before you start training people?
No. Sometimes it differs.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it depends if you're talking about the training people at the gym or at school.
Okay.
But
depends.
Yeah, but is that the normal way I start? Sometimes I start with the class that I take, or sometimes I will let them do their thing, and then if I feel like suffering alone, then I'll suffer alone.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was a first to notice that the clock actually helps, the timer.
Yeah.
So I've never. I understand there's different disciplines. Like, okay, there's bodybuilding, all right. There's your normal traditional type of bodybuilding where there's machines involved and you train in a certain way. But when it comes to the discipline of CrossFit, that's a different aspect to look at. So I was very curious first of all, for a guy your size, Especially when it comes to the type of training you do, and the type of assumption that I had that no, this CrossFit doesn't fit the picture of a person of your size and the type of sports you involved in. Right. But now because of experience and witnessing, basically, I keep on and constantly learning. I can say that okay, you cannot judge a book by its cover, but can you please elaborate more for us? It doesn't have to be much, but when it comes to CrossFit, it was. It's hard to imagine a guy like you training CrossFit. When it compared to because I'd fit you in the category of bodybuilding. Seriously.
I don't know. I'd say bodybuilding was more of, I'd say, a generic way of training for most of us back then when I started off.
Okay.
It was quite a few years ago. I was probably like 12 years old when I started actually lifting my first weight. And obviously then at that time you weren't really exposed to CrossFit. I'm not sure if there was CrossFit back then. I highly doubt it.
No, it wasn't.
But what we were more exposed to was, your traditional bodybuilding stuff, And because, when I grew up, I watched a lot of movies, you'd see people like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and when you look at their physique, they're just well sculpted, very proportional and stuff like that, and you will get those few scenes in movies or adverts where you'll see people training and stuff, and that's what we're mostly exposed to, so you always mimic what you see, but as you learn more into the discipline of fitness, you start seeing different components and different ways of getting that kind of physique that you want, and not just going about it the traditional quote unquote bodybuilding way. So I think it was more of being curious and asking questions and being obsessed, I would say, that kind of made me kind of observe and see other ways of doing it. But then that obsession just kind of went really wild, where I just didn't want to just train and know know how to train, but it went a bit deeper, where I just wanted to now to become one that can train other people, which then led me into studying it as as a qualification. But so I think the video that you are referring to, it wasn't quite CrossFit, but there were certain elements of CrossFit. Because previously I was a rugby player, and a lot of the way that our programs are periodized is that it starts off with strength, and then closer along towards the season it's going to incorporate a bit more of more of dynamic and explosive types of movements and lifts, which you will kind of find that you will have some of those done in CrossFit. So even though I don't play anymore, but I still train with that kind of intensity, like I'm going to play, and I still incorporate a bit of those movements as well, and exercises that we did, in our preparation phases.
And you gave those boys a hell.
That's the only way.
It's not I find entertainment in that and laughing about it, but it's not a
I do.
Your side is still okay.
I know.
Those boys were sweating.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, but you know, something that's actually quite interesting is they actually enjoy it. They enjoy being challenged, because I think one aspect that comes to fitness, a lot of people tend to overlook, is the psychological aspect of it. And the way that I always look at it is that these are young men. You know, average age is 16 years old.
Yeah.
At that age, you know, you're getting a very big spike in your testosterone levels. You know, I mean, as boys, we by nature we're very competitive.
Exactly.
You know, very competitive.
Exactly.
We always want to be the best. We want to be the fastest, the strongest. And being that's the case, you know, one thing that I don't do and that I will never do is to suppress that. I'll never suppress anything that comes naturally. And that competitive drive at that age, when your body is changing in ways where your hormones are now, you know, they're just getting out of control. Your testosterone levels are just rising and rising. Then that gives me an opportunity to push you. And at that moment, they might hate me, but when they are done with that, what they thought would be impossible to do, you know, that feeling that they get, you know, when they got all the adrenals going, it's a feeling that they tend to get addicted to. And it gets to a point where, you know, they come back and they say, okay, coach, we're here. What's next? You know.
And it was like that. It was like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I want us to, we will get back because yeah, okay, there was so much there were so many talking points, especially when it comes to the motivational aspect about it, where you literally telling them it's not about how you feel, it's about deciding that you're gonna come there and actually go and do it. Yeah, that was a highlight for me, that okay, we need to get you on camera. Because a lot of people don't know what it means to experience that type of motivation. A lot of people are depressed outside here. A lot of people don't know how to manifest that motivation, and you got it. I won't lie. When I witnessed it, like, sorry to say, I cannot explain it how it is, but it is what it is. If you have it in you, that's how it shows. And that was raw push and motivation. I keep on speaking about this motivation. You understand, my Kokstad Connect audience, that once you see what I'm talking about, you understand this is more than experience. It's something that is within you, that you, aside from you being a natural born leader, that people gravitate towards.
Yeah, man, what can I say? What can I say? Yeah, I think most of it I can attribute that to certain events that happened as I was growing up. You know, I think a lot of things didn't work out for me for a reason. Back then I didn't understand it. Now I'm glad all those things happened. You know, and you know, there's always a lesson in pain. You know, and I think for me, everything that happened was set out to happen to me, and specifically to me, and there was a reason why that happened. But I think the minute you stop feeling sorry for yourself, and you kind of look at what you can take from certain things that happen, that's where you tend to learn a lot, you know. And I do understand there's still more calamities and vicissitudes that are going to come my way. But at the very least, I know now that regardless of what happens, how it's going to end up will be me on top.
No other way. There's no story where we all have to think that way. There's no story where you are not the superhero of your story.
Yeah.
Whatever we envision, you have to be on top.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
But now we want you to take us through your history. Who is Lwando? Where we know Lwando Nteta grew up amongst us in Kokstad, right?
Yeah.
But just tell us more, because for me, I know Lwando Nteta went with us. I knew you from primary school, Kokstad Primary, and then Kokstad College. The only time we thing I didn't know was tertiary phase, and then your career, and then to now.
Yeah. So, geez, the beginning of it.
Yeah, the beginning, because we want to know.
Yeah. So I was born in Bronkhorstspruit.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't born in Kokstad actually. I was born in Bronkhorstspruit. That's where my dad worked, and I don't know what my mom was doing there.
Okay.
But she was there for some odd reason. I'm glad she was, because I wouldn't be here if she wasn't there. So that's where they met, and that happened, and then I was born there, and then I moved to Mount Frere. I think I was probably still a baby, but we moved to Kokstad as far as I know, as I was told. I think I was about 3 or 4. About 3 or 4 years old when I moved here, and that's pretty much where the whole journey started. Went to creche at St. Anthony's, Kokstad Primary.
Jeez, we went even to the same.
Really?
I also went to St. Anthony's.
Shit. Fuck. Jesus. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. But that's pretty much where it all happened. Until I was about 11 years old. At 11 years old. Shit, I still remember like it was yesterday.
I started being taller than everyone else.
That's
when I remember.
Yeah, I just started growing.
So you received your growth spurt before time.
Pretty much. I was still quite young when I had my growth spurt, which is really weird, because I got a bit smaller and I got taller, but I got shit slow. I really couldn't run anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, and that really took a big knock on my confidence, because now I was like, okay, what am I good at now?
Okay.
Because for a very long period, I was a sprinter, and everyone knew me as a sprinter.
Yeah. Don't you say that now that when you started becoming slow but actually growing taller at the same time, wasn't it a sign to you that your body is preparing yourself for a different type of sport? When you are asking yourself that question,
100%.
What am I good at?
100%. Because at that point, I started feeling very heavy. So I suppose, that was in a way now my body moving away from this, and then, preparing me for what I am now, because I've got a lot of my grandfather's genetics,
Okay.
He was a very tall man, big man, but just that, like, just from my mom's side of the family, we were just very gifted athletically, but also in terms of stature, very, very tall men, very big men. So I suppose it was just nature's way of molding me into what, my elders were, But at that time, I didn't know what was happening.
At 11 though?
Look, that's what I'm saying. That it's weird, but I mean, that's where.
Do you know what I'm starting to imagine? Gohan.
Do you know what's actually funny? You know what's actually funny? If you go on my Instagram, on my bio, Super Saiyan.
There we go.
Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan.
Maybe it's because we're not living in that type of animation.
Yeah.
We have to believe in some type of superpowers or something like that.
100%.
Because you had your growth spurt before time.
Yeah.
And plus, you transferring from one sport into another.
Yeah.
And then, out of the blue, I'm sure even the first day you tried out for rugby, you got accepted close to first team, or was it second team?
It's weird how it happened, because from athletics, pardon me, it was soccer. I know. No. But look, I wasn't the best soccer player there was. I was too rigid. I'd say I was too rigid, you know. And I didn't last there. I think I only played a year. I won't mention the club's name, but it's local. I played 1 year. And again, the kind of experiences that I experienced there, they helped me in such a way where it propelled me into becoming who and what I was when I then found out my real sport. Because, you know, I loved soccer with a passion, And in my mind and in my soul, by me playing soccer, I'm only doing what I love. And I thought I was good, but I wasn't good. But the way in which I found out that I wasn't good wasn't really a good way, you know, because every day when I go to practice, it's always the same thing. Oh no, you bad, you awful, you shit. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
There's no type of constructive criticism, at least.
No, there wasn't. And that's what made me abruptly just quit soccer and not want to watch soccer again. Till today, I cannot stand 5 minutes of watching soccer. I cannot.
Yeah. It's not that you're hating on it. It's just that from the experience. Also.
Look. I think soccer is a great sport. I've got a lot of soccer players that I idolize. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You know, I'm not going to mention who you think I want to mention. I'm not going to mention him.
It's become a problem now.
I'm not going to mention him. He's not a favorite. He's nowhere near a favorite. You know, but
I can see why, because Ronaldo is the hard worker.
100%.
He's the hard worker. He worked hard
100%
for everything he has.
100%.
Whereas compared to an alien who's just gonna use based on his structure, based on everything, when it's scientifically calculated that his body allows him to make those moves.
Yeah.
Versus someone who has a very humble beginning story.
Absolutely.
To the success he is. So I understand why you would. For me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but I think it's also because wherever he goes, he just keeps his consistency.
Exactly.
Something that the other guy can't do.
That's a debate for another day.
Okay.
That's a debate for another day.
That's fine.
I know where this could go.
It's not going to end.
Yeah.
It's not going to end.
Yeah, it's not going to end. But where were we? We were with you, the experience of even thing. You can't even stand watching it because of the experience. Yeah. And based on it's understandable. I've witnessed it, and sometimes I've also experienced it, which makes a lot of people give up early before even finding out if they're actually talented, directed by the right kind of people. Though.
Yes, absolutely.
Going back to my point, you have that, you know that, okay, this guy he is showing promise,
Yeah.
right? But it's not like let me baby him,
Yeah.
but it's like, are you gonna give up type
Yeah.
of thing? Not like you swag or
Yeah.
you whack.
Yeah.
There's no future here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You see,
Absolutely.
so basically that's that's the mentality most of us we were fed and weren't exposed to the right type of exposure to actually find out what we can be actually good at.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to remember it's competition at the end of the day. At the same time,
Yeah. Competition, man.
it was always going to be competition, and I won't lie, I'm a trash talker. I'm a trash talker. I will take you on regardless of whether you're bigger than me,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're better than me.
Yeah.
I'll try find ways to enter my enemy to make sure that at least I get that advantage. That's how competition
I
works.
understand fully.
But the problem is sometimes we're exposed to the wrong type of competition
Yeah.
at an early age that we cannot handle.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. But let me not overdo it now.
Yeah.
Now take us when you get to Costa College. Now,
Ooh.
and then whole change. Okay, take us through that.
Yeah, college. It was quite interesting. Jesus, actually, I remember from when I got there. It was very intimidating, because now I'm seeing guys that are bigger than me.
You were the biggest, but now you have
I'm
to
seeing
fall
guys
in
that are
line.
big enough to fall in line. So like, okay, this is going to be a whole new dynamic. But yeah, I enjoyed sport. I still do enjoy sport, but yeah, I've always been the kind of person that if I am in any team, I've got to play for the best team, and it I don't know, it really upset me, even though, I think it's just my ego that was just at play at this moment. But even though I was 14 and I'm still new in high school, my ego was like, you're not supposed to be playing under 14, you're supposed to be playing first team. That's what my ego was telling me. But realistically, it just wasn't going to happen because I couldn't compete with those guys at that time.
Okay.
But what I did was that because I was so obsessed with what my ego was telling me of where I'm supposed to be, the first team absorbed me in a sense that I would attend every practice, I would attend every match that is played in Kokstad. Every practice. So much so, a lot of those guys, when they would practice, they would just come to me, leave all their phones with me so I can keep them safe. Because I'd be there from the beginning up until the end of the practice. But also at that time, my best friend was playing in the first team and we live in the same neighborhood. So, for me it was, okay, cool. I'm gonna walk back with my best friend, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch how these guys train. I'm gonna watch everything they do. And I would observe everything, from what they do before the practice starts, how they warm up on their own, how the hookers will be just throwing and how the kickers will be kicking for poles, stuff like that, and the intensity that they apply at practices where they don't do anything half-heartedly. It was done with mad intensity. I mean, mad intensity. And off the bat, I knew that if I'm gonna play in this team at some point, I probably also have to apply the same mindset that these guys apply every time they come to practice and every time they play a match. So it was something, it was just an itch that I just would scratch, but that I just couldn't, I just couldn't get over it, And I knew what needed to happen in order for me to not really satisfied, but then for me to feel some sort of accomplishment, and that was to eventually get there and play first team. Yeah.
Yeah. So, aside from just hopeful thinking, I don't think it's an ego thing. Going back to what you said, you don't deserve to be in the under 14s. You deserve first team.
Yeah.
It wasn't an ego thing. The thing is, everyone thinks that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What separates you from that under 14 mentality now? Why are they is analyzing why are they putting you there, to understanding what do I have to do to actually get there.
Yeah.
So it's not on my side. I would say it wasn't even about ego.
Yeah.
There's this thing, right? You can wish for it, you can dream about it, you can talk to people about it, but unless you do something about it, you won't get it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about ego at all. It wasn't about ego. The fact that you did whatever it took, that experience thing changes the whole thing.
I think the way or why I say it was more ego was that even before we played, or even before we even had a first practice as under 14s, I just saw these guys training and I was like, I'm supposed to be there. Haven't tried, not tested, not even worn the kit, not even nothing. But already just from seeing these guys there, I was like, I'm supposed to be. So it was just that from a standpoint of that, not that I could be, or I should, or that I can, or whatever the case is. It's that I had this entitlement of, I am supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be here. I didn't even look at the fact that I'm only 14. I'm just a young buck that just got to, the high school, I mean, who the hell am I? I just got chain already. I feel entitled to play first team. So that's where I was like, my ego. But that same ego was such a very, 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 very big part in propelling me in my entire career. Because as you say, one can always wish or want something, but it's the action that will lead you to that. That's where, the difference comes about. But with me, it's as though my mind will play tricks on me, you understand? Where it'll be like, he's there, why can't you be there? What's so different from you? But now to have that at 14, when you just arrived there, you must then understand how bad that ego is. But the fortunate part for me is that it wasn't just that's what I'm feeling or what I'm being told by my ego, and then that I just leave it at that. But it's just that it would come all the time to such an extent that it forced me to actually climb the ladder that will see me get to first team.
Then my question is, when did you actually get to first team? Was it grade 9? Because grade 8, that's the beginning phase.
Yeah. No, look, grade 8, I was playing under 14. Grade 9, I thought, I'm not going to play on 15 because it's going to take me longer to get to first team. So I played second team. And it was one of the best years of my life. Jesus Christ. Fuck, I learned so much.
Okay. So sorry, before you continue. The under 14.
Yeah.
Did you bully these other players? Because you probably were the biggest, and then all of a sudden, it's almost like thing, what you call this here, heavyweights versus lightweights.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine you just having a breeze. Thing, what you call. I imagine you having a breeze, just knocking people, and they would. I'm sure they would put you as a forward, most probably, but a forward that scores tries.
Surprisingly, I was playing inside center.
Okay.
So I was playing in the back line.
Okay.
You know, but I didn't have the skill
Oh, okay.
for center. I didn't have the speed for center. I didn't have the wits for center, because when you play in the back line, there's a certain level of intellect that you need to have.
Exactly.
You can't just do anything, you know.
Yeah.
Because you have so much space and you're connected with these other guys, you can't just think, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
You have to work as you gotta work with your unit. And oftentimes, you know, you know, as forwards, you know, you don't really work with a lot of space, you know, as you get the ball, guys really in your face.
Yeah.
So you're only forced to take it up, or if you do have space, then you can try evade that person. But I mean, in the back line, you have so much space, and with space comes time. With time comes decisions.
Yeah.
With decisions comes thinking. So you gotta make the right decision, and it can work out, can't work out. But I mean, when every decision you make is the worst one, and nothing works out, then I think that for me was kind of like, okay, maybe I'm not a center. You know? And I found that out when I got to second team, because now the second team, you understand, there's like guys from like grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. Some of the guys are in grade 12, they've been going for trials for the past 3 years, and even in their matric year, they haven't made it. And you get guys who've been playing center since 6 years old. So they have all of that experience playing at center, versus someone who, you know, just started at 12 years old playing center. And, you know, I wasn't nearly as quick as those guys, you know. So I soon found out that I'm not a center. And I was moved. I remember when I moved to the forwards, I was very unhappy. I thought these guys are wasting my talent, but they were helping me. So shifted from center, went on to play lock.
Okay.
And my
Number 6 or number?
No, I was number 4.
Okay, number 4.
Yeah, that's lock.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
What's number 6?
That's your open side flank.
Oh, okay. That was my position.
Open side.
Yeah.
That's
That's
one
what.
of the fetches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice position.
Yeah. But anyway, let's not even go into me. Like, please continue your story.
Yeah. So I mean, second team, I was in grade 9, and at the back of my mind, I knew that I'm gonna make first team the following year. I just had that feeling, and with me, when I have a feeling, when it is as spontaneous as hiccups, because I don't really think about having hiccups. You just get hiccups.
It just happened.
In the same way, I would get that feeling of you're gonna play first team. And when I get that feeling, there is nothing that anyone can tell me that will make me not believe the feeling. I promise you. And 9 out of 10 times, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And it did happen.
Yeah.
You know. And that's where it started, you know. Had a bit of a slow season, you know. Then grade 11, Jesus. Yeah, grade 11, I was still playing lock. I enjoyed it, but I was a bit of a hothead at that point, you know.
Okay.
I had a lot of aggression. Like, I had so much aggression, I could give some to the whole team and still have an oversupply of aggression. That's how aggressive I was. But the only issue was that I couldn't control it. It controlled me.
Oh, okay.
And so I would get involved in a lot of scuffles. having a lot of, giving a lot of lip to the ref, and it would be awful, man. And it got so bad that I remember, I'm not going to mention the school.
But you got red carded or something?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I had an altercation with this guy, and it got physical. And I was to blame for that.
Yeah.
I was to blame for that. He said something, and everyone says something in rugby because the whole point is to get you out of your game, and he succeeded. I bit the bait, and that got physical.
I hope it didn't become a Mike Tyson situation.
I didn't bite his ear. But
it's understandable.
If I was a Mike Tyson fan, then I probably would have. But I am a fan of Mike Tyson, though.
I'm also a fan.
That guy's cool.
It is.
But after that incident, I was, that never placed in the team. I had to return all my kit, and I had to just sit there as I did in grade 8 and watch. And it was the hardest thing ever, but I knew that I only got one more year, which was my matric year. And I was like, okay, I gotta get my shit in check. And that's exactly what I did. But for that year, again, my ego then was at play again, where at that time I was one of the senior players. And when I looked around, I thought, what? I'm supposed to be the captain amongst these seniors. It was just clear as day. Not because that I felt as though I was better than all of them. No, there were far better players than myself there. But in terms of leadership, it's one thing I know that I do have. In terms of leadership, I truly believed that I'm supposed to. I was a prefect as well. I don't know how I was a prefect, by the way, but I was a prefect, and I voted. I don't know who voted for me. Why are you voting for me?
I voted.
Why did you vote for me?
Huh? It's that thing. I never became prefect, but that's the thing. I was too much of an introvert and too much of a nerd, right? But you were out there. You showed us that you can do this. You should have. With me, I never took that opportunity to show us. You should show people that Nteta can actually be involved in fitness. It's a thing that I developed later, but I ended up not actually participating that much in sports at school because of being an introvert and a nerd. But with you stuck out like a sore thumb.
Sometimes not for the right reasons.
Not even for that. It's not even about being popular kids at school.
No.
It wasn't about that. You showed the leadership, and part of what I'm telling you, you have it. It's part of your identity, and it's something that people gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Not that people look at you, it's a big guy and he's intimidating. No, it's not about that. People want to follow you. If you understand what I mean. People want to follow someone who believes in something. Sometimes it's something that's never achieved, or it's a goal that they know can be achieved because you exist in that in that realm.
Okay. No.
So that was my vote. Whether it's the thing is, even whether a person likes you or not, they will vote for you because they have to admit to themselves. That's how good. That's how good this person is. And it wasn't because of rugby. The moment you walk, that's the thing. In high school, right? Everyone looks at everyone, right? The moment you enter the gate, everyone is analyzing you. And you have to be aware that people are going to be watching you. and you were calm and also never changed. You never fumbled. You never folded.
Yeah.
A lot of people folded. So I understand exactly, but I understand also it goes back to that ego you were talking about.
Yeah.
At the same time, sometimes you feel robbed, but at the same time there's things in life we cannot control that we have to accept.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For me, even with me, I have an ego, but I don't know. I'm not
We
saying
all do, eh?
we all do.
It's just that not everyone.
But sometimes, for example, we do feel entitled. By all means, this here was mine. How come it got taken? No way.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
The math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're saying now it's your last year and you had to prove yourself. Started as a slow season, but
Yeah.
I witnessed you, and it was back when I was first dating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's it wasn't about skill, but that's it goes back to what I was saying. Everyone saw, even you lit up people's lives by just being a high schooler and doing the things you did at high school.
Yeah, I think that's because, there were others that did it before me. And it goes back to grade 8. Because I saw people who were more formidable than what I was. That kind of opened up my eyes to the fact that in a few years, the cycle will change.
Yeah.
I'm going to be them, and there will be another kid that's in grade 8 that's going to look at us and think, whoa, these are some big guys, So, I mean, for me to inspire anyone who was ever inspired was because I myself was also inspired, and probably the ones that inspired me were also inspired by others. So it's all just a perpetual cycle that just keeps going on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
I think it just becomes very important to not change who you are so that you can please other people, but it's just that whatever you do it properly. And
Exactly.
regardless of whatever else you don't get right, one won't want to duplicate what you didn't do right. They will want to duplicate what you did very well.
Yeah.
So that is just just my own understanding and application.
I don't know if I've said this before in the podcast, but it's so important to know that you've left your mark and impact. And for me, I think we were in a great following you guys, but I guarantee you left your mark on that school.
Gee,
Even if
I
you
didn't
were
know
to,
that.
even if you were to walk into that school now, if there are teachers that are still there that we know of, they will know that this is the one. He left his mark here. And that's such an important thing, especially also. And that's why it's such an important narrative when it's coming from a person who grew up here in Kokstad. That this is a story that we don't want to just end just by you only knowing that's your story. There's kids out here that need that type of knowledge that, okay, this person I can relate to, and I want to be like him.
Yeah. No, that's some.
You left your mark.
I wasn't aware of that.
Seriously, because I think I stopped first aiding at grade 11 or grade 10, I think. Then when it came to our year, then that's where I started actually my fitness journey. I considered going to play sports in rugby trials, but I said, okay, no. I will take a different type of journey when it comes to this year. I started realizing that, okay, it's not about even missing out, but I was consistently learning, and the first time it actually happened was when you didn't want to go off the field and you got injured. Seriously. And then I was carrying you on my shoulder to first aid you, and you still forcefully cheered your teammates on.
I can't even remember that.
Yeah.
I can't even remember that.
And that's the thing.
Yo.
Is that I need this type of energy. I'm not saying you the main reason that I aspired to actually also get myself involved into fitness, but you were part of the reasons why I had to change. That what you call this? What you call that? I was too focused on knowledge.
Yeah.
I was too focused on knowledge. To the point where, okay, I need to achieve this much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started out the supplements route first.
I remember that.
Failed.
Failed.
And but I ended up knowing exactly what my body needs to actually get there.
Yeah. It's like trial and error.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, sorry for involving you in my story.
It's all good.
I'm too much of a, what you call this, This is what happens to introverts.
The mind runs.
The mind runs and
It runs.
Now take us to after high school now.
After high school?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. So after high school, initially, I wanted to become a soldier.
You know that that doesn't that vision or picture is not that far.
Yeah.
No, because and you'd fit perfectly because it's discipline, training, mentality, soldier mentality, which you already exposed to in teamwork, and
And something else I probably won't mention on camera. But
I'm not even gonna ask. I'm not even gonna. So, a soldier.
I wanted to be a soldier. I really wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to be in the special forces. But that changed when I then knew about the Sharks Academy. And I thought to myself, Jesus, I can actually make it. There's an academy. So I got everything, I applied, did everything, and then I got a call. I had to go do tests and stuff, fitness tests and all that kind of stuff. Where they just measure your skills, and your fitness and all that kind of stuff. Did that, and everything checked out. And I was fortunate enough to get a bursary from one of the local clubs, Jaguars. Oh my man, best club I could have possibly went to. Coming from the school I come from, coming from the town I come from. Jaguars was just a perfect fit. So these guys had a massive chip on their shoulder. Massive chip on their shoulder. And they were just relentless. Relentless. And I just knew that I'm in the right place. Because there I knew that these guys they're not going to try and, calm me down. They instead are gonna also just push this fire and just push and push. Obviously within the limits of the law, not anything like what happened previously in high school. And man, it was just the perfect club for me, The coach was an excellent coach. The captain, he was a soldier. He was if you think I'm a soldier, yeah, you haven't seen a soldier yet. That guy was an animal. And I loved it. I loved having a leader that was just so ready just to go out there and just...
The thing is, sorry to cut you off, your point is, how are you gonna upgrade yourself when you're surrounded by sheep? How are you gonna upgrade yourself? You're supposed to have another leader next to you to upgrade yourself.
No, absolutely. But what I loved more was that he was more than what I was. That's what I loved.
And that's the thing. You want to do better once you see someone.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing else. Because okay, cool. This guy is fitter than I am. He's stronger. He's harder. He's very passionate. He's very passionate. He had a very deep-rooted drive for rugby. And he played like he meant it. He didn't just run into you. He wanted to run over you. And I loved it. Because I can relate to this guy. And look, that's the kind of environment I was exposed to. And from there, I can confidently say that environment is what helped me grow as a player, but also as a human being. Because what then transpired from that was, because we were playing so well, we were even beating these other teams on their fields, which was crazy. Where now there was this big scope on us of like, okay, cool. These guys got something. They're not as bad as we thought they are. And yeah, a few of us made the squad, the Sharks under 19 squad. And then sadly, for me, it all came to an end, when I unfortunately got I had an injury on my knee, I tore my ACL, so
it's one of the worst injuries.
But it's kind of weird because when it happened, I felt something snap, but I didn't know it was the ACL. So I just, laid off for, I think it was about 3-4 weeks. I was obviously seeing the physio, I didn't go for x-rays, I didn't do anything like that, we just assumed that it was just a minor little nickel. And I played a few more games with a torn ACL, and I didn't even know. But what was crazy was that after each game, it would swell up. It'd be like I have a tennis ball over here on my knee. And I would ice it, the swelling would go down, and practice, boom, swollen. And, it was that throughout until we finished the season. And then eventually, I went to go see the Sharks physio, along the club physio.
Okay.
Had a look at it, checked it out, and he says, you might have to go and see a doctor. So went to the doctor, which was still there at the premises at the Sharks Academy, and took a look at it, and then he referred me to an orthopedic surgeon. Then got some x-rays done, scans were done, and he was like, your ACL is torn, and the only way you can fix this is, if you have to go under the knife. And told me you're going to be out of action for about 9 months. So I was like, okay, so I'm screwed. I'm pretty much screwed. And I knew I have to get the surgery done if I want to play, or else it's going to be the same
take the surgery
thing where train swell up. practice or play swell out.
And you might be prolonging something even.
Yeah, exactly. So I went, I did the surgery, and it was a successful surgery, and that was it. And in the midst of of all these emotions that I was feeling, because I've never gotten such an injury before. Yes, previously in high school I had a concussion, but concussion at most would be out for like 4 weeks. But I'm talking 9 months now.
So baby,
I'm telling you, literally, literally, yeah, my man. And that's what happened, But during all of this, I'm trying to think now, what am I going to do? How am I going to get back? Because I already saw the competition. Because I already saw what these guys can do, and these guys that made the final Shark squad are going to be playing. So which means then they are going to then be in good contention for the Sharks under 21. Whereas I didn't play. I just played a club match and got my ACL torn. So I thought I've got to recover from this. I've got to do rehab for this. I've got to get fitter. I've got to get stronger than these guys. Then I've got to outperform them. And then I've got to shift the coach's eyes from the guy that was playing at the under 19 team. He has to shift his focus from him and focus on me, a guy coming back from injury. So I knew the daunting task that was ahead of me. And I knew that chances are it's not going to happen. Not unless I can just pull a rabbit out of the hat and just whoop out a monstrous performance every week. But fortunately, God had other plans for me, where, I think it was like a day after surgery, I get a phone call from the manager at Border. Border Rugby Academy, it was back then, it was still an academy. And he was like, hey, I've been following you, and I've gotten some good reviews about you, and we'd really like to have you over here in the Eastern Cape. So what are your thoughts? So I was like, hey, I would love to, but I just done surgery yesterday. He's like, don't worry, come. I'm like, I'm gonna be out for 9 months. He said, come. Like, okay. Sent the paperwork, signed it right then and there. Didn't waste any time, and then that was it. And that's pretty much where the actual journey started,
Whoa.
That's where the actual real journey started,
Whoa.
Yeah. And yeah,
That's crazy. That is really crazy. The fact that you were facing this adversity, plus also you were sitting at a place of unsurety, of not being sure, of where you're going with the direction, and plus you had to wait for a whole baby to come. Yeah, but sure. Okay, so much to take in.
Yeah, it's the life. It's pretty common. It's just for me, I was fortunate enough to get a lifeline, to get a helping hand. It's not over yet. It's just the beginning. Come to the Eastern Cape, you won't regret it. And Jesus, that's where it all started, in the Eastern Cape. That's where it all started.
We need to know more.
Yeah.
Let me check first how long this episode is.
Sure.
For now,
Sure.
So that just in case we prolong to episode 2. We've spoken for an hour.
Really?
Yeah. We can push it, but
I think it was previous because of the other chats we had. Or we
not really, because that's when we spoke about my rival.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's when I
Okay.
started.
Okay.
So we've spoken for over an hour.
Okay.
So I think we can. I'm not saying let's end it now. I don't want to end it. I want to dive deep into.
Yeah.
Now
We can go for it.
when you now here's a lifeline
Yeah.
given to you. No, Take us through that. Take us through that.
Yeah, so I was at Border Rugby Academy. I was about 20 years old. Yes, I was 20 years old. No. Yes, I was 20 years old. Oh my man, I remember when I arrived there. I saw the first two guys I saw was I actually played with this guy. It's funny how life and how rugby works. Because I saw this one guy, Sian Daka. He's a legend.
Okay.
He was at the Sharks as well. He was at Border, he was at the Leopards, and you know, I think he's coaching now. And Magazole Mapimpi. Yeah. That was before he eventually made it into the Southern Kings.
Okay.
Eventually, yeah. So these guys came out of the gym because they're at the academy, at the gym. And these guys came out there with these massive guns. And I remember, like I'm telling you, it looked like a baby's head. Both of them. So I was like, whoa, what the hell? It was my first time knowing that it is actually physiologically possible to build arms like that as a rugby player, and seeing it live. I was taken aback by that. And yeah, I remember they were just walking past and then they greeted. I was like, hey. So I was like, are these my teammates? And yeah, so I was there, you know, in my big knee brace, hobbling up the steps, going to the manager. And, you know, we had a brief chat, met the other guys as well. And yeah, you know, started the whole process and started seeing the physio, the doctors, the biokineticists, and they were working with me. And, you know, I would do all my work with the biokineticists and the physios, and when I'm done, I would sit there and I would watch these guys train. And nothing hurt me more than just watching, because I wanted to get involved in the action, you know. Yeah, what was supposed to take 9 months took 7. I don't know how.
There we go.
But
there we go. 11 years old, growth spurt, then grade 9, second tier,
you know.
already. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to acknowledge this here, but you're more of a Messi than Ronaldo.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Let me tell you a brief with Messi, just a small story with Messi.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
The guys were already looking at it, putting him in first team before he couldn't he could make it even out of the academy at Barcelona.
And where else did he go after that?
Barcelona.
Okay. And after that, where did he go? And what did he achieve?
After Barcelona?
Yes.
The thing is, he has a story because he's in America now.
Okay.
He signed okay. Part of thing aside from signing big deals like with Apple. And he's still scoring a decent amount of goals.
Decent. I like the fact you said decent. There's nothing decent about Ronaldo, buddy. Nothing decent about that guy, buddy. Nothing decent about him, buddy.
Okay. Let me not compare it to Messi.
Yeah.
I was wrong for that.
Yeah, you're very wrong there.
But bro, your genetics place you above average. But at the same time, it's not because you're lucky to have those type of genetics. It's the hard work also. I don't know, but it's not about quickly healing, but your body knew that I cannot stay out for long.
Yeah, look, I'll give credit to the medical staff as well. They worked overtime. They were worked overtime, but I think they were also getting a lot of pressure from the top.
No,
I think they were also getting a lot of pressure from the top, and that pressure was just filtered down, and eventually it got to me. But in regard to me, I didn't feel pressure. For me, it was like, if I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna work harder. If they say 10 squats, I'll do 12 squats. Because I just hated not playing. I hated it. Because that was literally the only thing that I have where I can be me. I'm me when I'm not playing rugby, but when I'm playing rugby, when I played rugby rather, that's where I could tap into a mindset that I can't tap into.
Exactly, I understand. Because I understand, especially with for me, even with whatever sports that whenever I got a chance, and plus, it's not about being on the winning team side or the losing team side. For me, I was me, especially when I started trash talking.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And I think there's a lot of. It's not a toxic trait now. There's that thing that even when it's soccer, you're the guy you're dependent on to score that goal, like the thing when he scores, Platsum, those types of words.
No,
and then
I mean,
and then you when you get a chance to trash talk on the opposition, you have like comments like, okay, my remarks were like, get your nasipiti.
Damn.
And I made sure I take the opportunity to breathe down your neck and make sure you knew that.
Yeah.
And then he was the guy. He was the guy. The whole team, even his own team.
Yeah.
Said,
yeah. But you know, it's
that type of.
It's like what I said, is that, you know, as from when we were boys, we're very competitive. Hell, we would compete about the most stupidest thing. Like, oh, my dad drives this. My dad
That's
can
how
beat
it
your
is.
dad up. You know, like what?
It would end up.
Can't beat my dad up. So that, you know, when that isn't suppressed, when you allow a boy to be a boy, you allow them to be them, it will obviously continue on. But you know what happens when boys come together? We become boys. And
It's stupid.
I'm telling you, but it's necessary.
It is.
Because that trash talk isn't because it's arrogance or what. It is just your own competitive nature. And the thing is that if you're not mentally and emotionally prepared to compete, then don't compete. Because when you come across someone who their whole life, let's say maybe they had brothers, older brothers, and their older brothers will never take it easy on them. Where if we're playing FIFA, they're just always getting thrashed. And your older brother is just gonna laugh at you and always just, you know, and you get sad. That is building a competitive drive within you. But now what happens then when you leave that space where you're around your brother and with other boys?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
You cannot
imagine?
because the thing is, it's not even bullying.
No, it's not bullying.
It's normal.
No, it's not
It's
bullying.
normal.
It's competing.
The thing is, you cannot accept being in the presence of I don't know. You cannot be soft though.
Yeah, I know.
You cannot be soft. You have to, I don't know. You have to represent.
You have to.
You have to represent, because even with FIFA,
Yeah.
my God,
The trash talk that comes in. The trash talk. Gee.
FIFA is worse.
Yo.
FIFA is worse, regardless of whatever console you're playing. I know. Okay, these latest consoles are different from what we were exposed to.
Yeah.
Even what you call this soccer table.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Mate, whenever the boys come together, there will be trash talk. We're gonna compete. We're gonna compete. But like I said, if you're not emotionally and ready, to come across that, then you're gonna obviously be in your emotions, or you're gonna perceive that.
And the thing is,
too arrogant.
You have to understand. We are going to tell you to go home. Understand, for me, if I have the advantage of being in your ear, if you let me get into your mind,
Yeah, fair point.
I have those remarks where I say, go cry to mama.
Fair point.
Things like that.
Fair point.
If you,
Fair point.
and that's the thing. Okay, whatever competition, it's I always left the opposition wanting to be at least win once, and then they would go home, so that they cannot be a part of the toxic cycle ever again.
That's literally what I do. We're gonna play. If we play 10 times, and you beat me 10 times, we're gonna play for the 11th time. And if I win on the 11th time, that's it. Done. We ended it with me winning and you losing, and that's enough for me.
So you
That's
can.
enough for me.
It's enough for you, so you can sleep well. No.
Yeah, of
the
course.
thing is, you even when it comes to FIFA, we would get into trouble because now it's already 12 o'clock. It's a test tomorrow.
But we're not gonna stop playing.
We're not gonna stop playing.
If I didn't win, we're not stop playing.
My younger brother beats me in FIFA, but I'm saying that last game, if I win it, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing is, the same thing happens when he starts losing now.
And then he wants to play until he wins.
Yeah.
I know. If I win,
We feed
this
off
is
each
what I
other.
play. I'm sorry.
I'm switching off the
I switching off
PlayStation.
and said, I'm calling it a day. Try again tomorrow. Try again tomorrow. But best believe we're not gonna play tomorrow. We're gonna play on that other day. What I'm gonna do tomorrow
I still
is I'm
need
gonna
to
look
feel.
at cheat codes of how I can because whether I cheat to win, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter as long
As long as I win. But
Yeah.
understand, I loved Eddie Guerrero. You know. And you know he's famous.
I lie, cheat, you steal.
Absolutely.
Viva la raza.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's what I'm gonna do. If it means I'm gonna cheat to win, I'm gonna win. Only in FIFA. Only in FIFA. Only in FIFA. Nothing else.
A lot of egos were bruised in FIFA.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, no, it's bad.
It's bad. I don't think it's a topic for another day.
It is a topic for me.
It's a topic for another day because FIFA back then is different to FIFA back now.
Yeah.
But
But I could probably beat you in FIFA.
bet.
You wanna bet?
The thing is, how I structure my game is I play defensively, so I can see your weak points first. And
I don't have any weak points.
And that's the thing. It's too good to be true that you